Disclaimer: none of these guided meditations and yoga are to replace any medical or psychological treatment. We strongly suggest that you find a quiet and safe atmosphere in which to practice. Do not listen to meditations or practice yoga while driving or doing any other activity requiring mental alertness.
Hi, I'm Marion McGowen, and Transcending Paradigms is my company, and I am here on behalf of Spiritual Fitness on the Go. And today I'd like to start out with discussing thriving in chaos. We all have chaos in our life, and many times we don't even realize that it is chaos because it can become the norm. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a little bit about my story so that you'll understand where I learned about thriving in chaos. I had the, I don't know what you want to call it, the misfortune, whatever, of losing within 3 years 2 daughters, my younger sister, and a business. So therefore, I learned a lot about chaos. And I learned about what to do, what not to do, where I don't want to go, and I'm asked all the time, how do you do it? I do it one day at a time. That's the secret of thriving in chaos, I believe. It's about letting go. Letting go, you don't forget them. Of course, you love them, and of course, you wish they were. But the thing is, you can't bring them back. You can't bring them back. So my opportunity was to learn to thrive in chaos, help others. Help others, get out of myself, get over myself, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. And even though when we're going through it, we think we're the only one, like, oh, am I going to do this? And no, we're not the only one. And your story is, when you tell it to someone, it's like, oh, that's a shame. But guess what? 2 minutes later, they're going back to their story. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So if you're looking for people to just, oh, I'm so sorry. No, first of all, you're not helping. And my suggestion to you, any of you listening, is do not do that to anyone else. When you hear this horrific news, which you hear, it's, okay, wow. So is there anything I can do to help you? That's it. Is there anything I can do to help you? Not, oh, the drama, and that doesn't help. That doesn't help. That just feeds fuel into it. I know it sounds cold, but after having all these losses so close together and being blessed with being in the spiritual field, when the first one passed, I was teaching a class at Central Fox called Thriving in Chaos. And the class was the last class for the semester. So I couldn't postpone it. And the funeral, we had to wait a few days for the church. And so I went and I taught the class. And at the end of the class is when I shared my story. And they were like, oh my God. And I said, no. What's the name of this class? It's Thriving in Chaos. This is how you thrive in chaos. And I can remember one little girl saying, oh my God, and I was here to complain about my mother-in-law tonight. I said, well, that's important to you. That's important to you. That's your chaos in your life. And I think that one of the things I would really like to stress, honor another person where they're at. Don't make it all about you. Don't make it all about you. It's not that, I know I hear people think I'm very cold. No, I'm not cold. I would say I'm very pragmatic. I mean, life goes on. Life goes on. So that was when the first one passed. And then we just went on. And then when my sister passed, it was Christmas night. It was Christmas night. And I had to look at it this way. She had cancer. And then she was doing well. And then the cancer, she had heard the cancer was back. And I spoke to her on the phone that day. And my advice to her the last week that she was down there, she was down with her friends in Jersey. And she had never married. And she was partying the whole week. And it's like, good for you, sis. Go do what you gotta do. And I talked to her that night, and she was fine, and she was happy, and she was laughing, and she said, I know I've told them all that I'm going to go have like chemo and go on. She said, but I'm not going to do it. But I'm not telling anyone today. Well, Spirit was very merciful. She didn't lay on the bed, had a massive heart attack. I was happy for her. I was happy for her because she didn't have to go through all the chemo and all the drama and all the chaos. So I was happy that that's the way her soul chose to go out. And then the third one was my oldest daughter on 11/11/11. She had been in the hospital with pneumonia. She had a history of upper respiratory infections. And she didn't, evidently, they gave her the strongest antibiotic they could, sent her home. And, but I have to honestly say this, if I didn't have the belief system now of knowing about the soul and the soul coming in and what I really believe in, I probably would have handled it differently. But it's almost like you get a sense of knowing. You know what you know. You know what you know. And drama, I'm not saying you don't grieve. I'm not saying you don't grieve. You take the time to grieve. With my first daughter that passed, sometimes I would just sit at night. Her picture's up there on the wall, have a glass of wine, sit with her and celebrate, because that's what she would have done here, and that's what she would have wanted. Now, so the chaos comes, and then with the business, and then with what's going out in the universe right now, and now all the talk about the paradigm shift. And what's really interesting is, years ago when I decided to call I had business cards made called, and I said Transcending Paradigms. And the paradigm to me is changing your thinking. The old paradigm was a way we were taught to think. So it's like the words we used to use back was collective consciousness. It was a group of thoughts. Where did you get that? That was the old paradigm. We got it from our tribe, from our ancestors, from who raised us, where did we go to school, what area were we in. And that's how we were taught we were to believe. So that was the old paradigm. And now that things are shifting, I mean, just think about, and I've probably talked about this before, I'm the generation where we didn't have computers, and we typed on an old typewriter, that was the typewriter. And all of these electronics are foreign to me. They're foreign to me. I personally feel the new paradigm's taken it a little too far over the other way, because all the jokes now are about they're addicted. I saw something on Facebook the other day about someone was in heaven and they saw these spirits walking around, and they were saying to each other, "Oh, I didn't recognize you," because they didn't have their electronic device in their hands. But it's the new paradigm, and I understand that. But I do believe with all my heart, you need a balance. You can't throw everything in from the old. There was an expression many years ago, don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. And it's really where we need now is balance, because the new generation, it's Google it or go on YouTube, or the children, they don't go outside to play. They don't go outside to play. They don't get any energy. And some things that I see on Facebook are mean and malicious, and things that I feel that you would never say that to someone's face. You would never say that to someone's face. But it's almost like Facebook gives you a reason that you can do that. Things that are ugly. I mean, they say really nasty things. So they create their own chaos. When you do that and you get out there and you do something malicious and it backfires, why are you surprised? Like, I don't get that. Well, I didn't mean it. Not true. You said it. If it wasn't in your heart, it wouldn't come out of your mouth. And so therefore, a lot of us create our own chaos. We create our own chaos. It's like, wow, your intuition told you don't do that. And it's like, well, no, I think I can. I'll try it. And that's no. So it doesn't work. So the chaos is yours. And the paradigm, it's changing fast. For those of you that are into the spiritual, you know the vibrations, and there's so much talk about, you know, the I am presence and the spiritual guides. And now none of this is new. I'm going back when I started in the 70s. And you almost didn't talk about this because you were so airy-fairy. And I was in the restaurant and bar business. So absolutely you didn't talk about it. I mean, you flag someone if they started this conversation at the bar. But it was out there then. And in 1977, I went to the Dale Carnegie course. Like I teach classes on another way we create chaos is our words. So I teach classes on your words. And if I have someone coming to me as a client, I'm asking you, how do you feel? Don't wait for me to tell you what to do. You go in there, and I always say it doesn't hum to me. It doesn't hum to me, which means it doesn't feel right. So therefore, I'm going to ask you, there is no new information. So when we get out of the chaos, we create our own chaos. But it's energy. It's energy work. And when your energy is out of whack, there's chaos. There's chaos. And many times you can't identify it. Because you just walk in there and something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. And many times you'll think that it's you. Where if you can take a deep breath, say, wait a minute, something's going on here. Something's going on here. And if that person is angry, or an angry, nasty person, you will pick up their energy and not realize. And as a result, it does feel chaotic. It does feel chaotic. You can walk into a room and they're fighting and arguing in a spiritual class. And what happens, I feel a lot of times, the egos get in it. The ego gets in it, and that causes a lot of chaos. Where this is really a lot of what I teach in my class. If you have a person that creates chaos in your life, and you see a pattern, love them from a distance. Because if you walk back there, and again, how many of us have been in relationships where now you can say, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? But we get so we don't realize that this is what chaos is. This is what chaos is. To me, it's that feeling of something just doesn't feel right. And they say the room is chaotic. And I see it as everyone's energy field, where if someone could stand up and say, stop, everyone, take a nice deep breath. Take a deep breath to get centered. But chaos can be prevented and can be avoided. Maybe not avoided, but you can back away from it. You can back away from it. If you make a conscious decision to get in there, or you think you're the rescuer, that you're going to get in there and you're going to save them and you're going to change this. You know, there's some old cliches you say, back away from the car, back away from the car. Because it's not your story. It's not your story. And if you think you can get in there and rescue everyone and save them, chaos, sometimes it feels good. You like the drama. That's a pattern. So no one takes it real serious because they can run in, you've been in situations where they're screaming, yelling, very emotional, and they sit down and have something to eat. So it's kind of, that's another way of approaching it. But for you, for those of us that are out there today, and we're trying to thrive in chaos, we have to take full responsibility. We have to take, now maybe we didn't cause the chaos, but we have a choice. Are we going to react or respond? And that is up to us. So if I choose to react to the chaos, I get sucked right in, and then I become part of it. And then your energy gets all caught up in theirs. And when you can take, I'm not saying it's that easy in the beginning to stop and Take a deep breath. Get yourself centered. Get yourself centered. But when you're in the midst of it, many times you don't think of that. You don't think of it. It's like it kind of like sucks you in like a vacuum. It sucks you right in, and it's like, oh my God, I thought I was really above this. And I think that Spirit has quite a sense of humor. When you think you really got it all, it's like, oh, okay. My little ego jumped in there, and I just realized I need to back away here because I don't have it all. I don't know it all. I don't know it all because I don't know your story. I haven't walked in your shoes. I may hear the words, but your heart is sending out that energy. It's almost like how you processed the situation. It's how you've processed the situation. And it's different for each one of us. I can't tell you how to process. I can't tell you how to feel. Well, I think you should. A couple words you want to really be aware of. Should. And yeah, but. Yeah, but. Yes, but. As soon as you hear yourself saying what you should do, think about where. That's all paradigm. Where did you get that thinking? Where did you get that? If I'm working with a client and they tell me they should, well, I should, and my question is usually, why do you feel you should do that? Well, because you should. Well, where did you get that belief system? Where did you get, now the buzzword is paradigm, where did you get that belief system? Well, where did you think about it? Where did you get it? Someone else instilled that. Our families, our churches, our tribes, so when you hear should, it's like, let that be a trigger. Like, wow, okay, I should. Why should I? Why should you? Do you want to let it go? And then when you get to reacting and responding, you catch yourself when you get into the chaos. It's like, wait a minute. Am I reacting here or am I responding? And in order to respond, think about it. You have to think. You have to, there's a saying, engage brain before opening mouth. And I think that is such a great saying. Don't say I always practice it, but I'm saying it's a great thing. So what I'm saying for today, I hope that a little bit of this information will help you. I'm available for private sessions. And I, again, want to promote Spiritual Fitness on the Go because it's a wonderful concept and they've done a great job creating this, getting the word out because I think it's time. It's an idea that's time has come.